So anyway guys, so for today's video I will talk about the 125cc bikes that I have had over the time of me obviously riding. So I first ever did my CVT on two wheels when I was 16, but I just had a little 50cc obviously because I was 16, which was, at the time, it was just a little Simjet 50cc moped. But as soon as I turned 17 I got my 125, which just so happened to be my first ever geared bike, and it was a two-stroke. So the first bike I had, the first 125, was a two-stroke Honda MTX 125R, which had the power valve system, and that was basically Honda's version of the Yamaha DTR, and it was also like the Suzuki TS 125. It was a Honda's version of that. Very good bike, obviously two-stroke. The good thing about that bike is at the time it didn't have to run on premix like some two-strokes. It had its own two-stroke bottle, but obviously over my time I have had to have premix before. Basically, yeah, my first 125 was a two-stroke crosser on the road. Very good bike, enduro bike. Taught me a lot about bikes and how to obviously handle a bit of power, because obviously getting a 125 two-stroke is a little bit different to a four-stroke 125, especially at that age. And then after that I ended up getting a Yamaha TZR 125, which when I got it, it looked like it had been driven through a pond, I'll be honest with you. But my dad, he used to be a panel beater, spray painter, mechanic and all this stuff. Used to be able to restore cars, do them all up and everything, and he used to do it with motorbikes, so he ended up actually restoring the bike with me. To be fair, he did a lot himself. He kind of took over the project and did it as a surprise for me. He literally made it look like it was brand new. Absolutely ridiculous. Did all the decals, all the paint, got all the dents out of the tank, redid everything. It was like a brand new bike. So obviously that was a two-stroke again, and that was the YVPS, I think it's YPVS system, which is obviously the, if you know about them, that's obviously the power valve system again. Ended up having that for a bit, and then I ended up getting, I swapped that and got a Chigibo Maito for a little bit. That was a 7-speed version, and that was, I believe what it was called was a Chigibo Maito Evo. Looked very much like a little mini Ducati. So I had that for a while and got an Aprilia RS 125. Now the Aprilia RS 125 at the time, absolutely ridiculous. It was running full power, so obviously it shouldn't have really been on the road at the time. So it was a full 33 brake horsepower edition, and it was running like a full race GNLA exhaust system. Very good. Like obviously all the top end had been redone, so it was like a, I forgot what it was now, I think it was a Vertex piston, dome piston on it as well. Yeah, carbon force reed valves and everything, so it was very much full on two-stroke power. Now that actually ran just on a two-stroke bottle. The Chigibo Maito actually ran premix, I forgot to mention that. That ran premix, so I believe that they were my last two-stroke 125s I actually had. So after I had my Aprilia RS, I basically got rid of my bikes for a while, probably for about 6 months, and then ended up getting my first four-stroke, which was the Yamaha WR 125X. Absolutely brilliant bike, loved it to bits. It was my first brand new bike I actually bought from the shop, went and picked it up and all that stuff. Unfortunately, if you're seeing the stuff on the channel before, if you go back enough, you'll see that it got stolen. So first, when I ever did motovlogging before, I used to have that bike. That's what kind of got me into motovlogging. I did a bit on the Aprilia, but on the WR, that's when I really did a lot of it. Kind of ventured out a little bit more. But the WR, absolutely fantastic bike, plenty of torque, plenty of power. But unfortunately, I literally had that for around, I want to say I had it for like 2 months, and then it got stolen by some absolute knobhead. So yeah, I had that for a while. Well, obviously not a while. I had that got stolen, and it kind of just, I went away from having bikes for a while. Like I just didn't need them. And then when I eventually got back into riding, back into thinking, right, I'm going to do my test again, I ended up getting, what did I have now? Oh, I picked up, I literally had a downhill push bike. It was like a Corner Stinky, a very good bike to be fair. I ended up swapping it. I wouldn't have said it was worth much. I paid about, I think I paid like 200 quid for it. So, but I basically ended up swapping a downhill bike for a 125 bike. Wasn't anything special, use your indicator. Wasn't anything special, but it was a Sim XS 125, little 4-stroke. It's basically Sim's version of, I want to say, Yamaha YBR. And again, it got me back on the road again, so it did its job. Little Chinese 125, and I'll be honest with you, that bike was, it was okay because it got me around, but I think the third gear ended up completely shitting itself. I ended up managing to sell that and get another bike. I don't know how I managed to do it, but I managed to sell that bike for like £400, even with the gear like completely messing up. So I sold that £400 and then ended up picking up a Sinis Apache 125. Absolutely brilliant little bike, and again another Supermoto 4-stroke Chinese bike at the time. It was a very good bike, it got me around a lot. Obviously went to work a lot on it, and then I think what I ended up doing is I swapped that one, sold that, and ended up getting a Derby Sender Barja, I think it was called. Another 4-stroke 125. Ended up getting that again. It looked like it had been through the wars a little bit. Ended up basically doing it all up, spraying it. I think I ended up spraying it black and blue. Did that for a little bit, got rid of that, and then I ended up getting a bigger 125, which was the first V-twin, and that was the Hyosung GT-R 125, which was obviously that is based off of Suzuki GX6R, the same frame, the same chassis, the same literally front brake calipers and everything as a Suzuki GX6R 600, and absolutely cracking bike. I got rid of that one again for, I believe I swapped that again for another Pulse Adrenaline or a Quingy, basically the same thing as a Sinis Apache. Got another Supermoto. I believe that was a white and blue one that I had. Then I got rid of that and swapped it for a Hyosung GT 125 Comet. That was basically again Suzuki frame. It was based off of a Suzuki Bandit 600. Very, very, very good bike. Again, V-twin, lots of low-end torque onto it, lots of low-end power. But I ended up basically doing all the front end, like the front sprocket, rear sprocket conversions. Did a fair bit to it, to be honest with you, all the chain conversions, and made it a lot faster than it would have been standard. So that was a very, very good bike, to be fair. Really good bike. Did a fair bit of stuff to that. I think that was one of the first bikes I actually ended up doing all like the clutch cables, the clutch levers, brake levers, reservoirs, everything. Did all just every bit of thing you can do to the bike I ended up doing. So that was a good bike again. And then after that, after the GT 125 Comet, I ended up just getting another Sinis Apache, which I want to say was a black one, which I did all the carbon fibre wrap on and stuff. Again, good bike. Ended up doing all the stuff with the fat bars, the wide bars, all the clutch and brake levers, all that type of stuff, just making it my own. And then that was my last 125 until I got this one. So I'm going to do a full bike test. But then at that time, people around me were getting like more and more cars. I was getting a bit more into cars, into the scene and stuff. So I ended up deciding to just do my car test instead. Like for me at the time, the price, like I'd already been on the road on a motorbike and I knew a bit about it. I'd not got a car yet, and I thought, you know what, let's just get a car. And I only ended up having, I believe it was 13 driving lessons, and I just passed my test first time. And I put that down to me having experience on the road. Obviously transferring that into a car obviously helped massively. But yeah, I basically got a car, ended up having a car for the last 8 years, and then that was it. I didn't think I needed a bike again. I mean, obviously I've come round to then wanting a bike again, and this is where I'm at with the Zontes. Yeah, so when obviously I say I've had my fair share of bikes, I've had a lot of bikes. It's been the exact same with cars. I've had so many cars. Like I've been driving for coming up to 8 years now on cars, and I'm not kidding you, I must have had around 32 cars now. And people think I'm exaggerating with that. I'm really not. I was the exact same with bikes as I was with cars. I get bored of them, or I want to try a different style, or a lot of the time what I do is I just go through a phase of basically trying to swap the previous bike for a better bike. Same as the cars. I'd end up having a car, do it up a little bit, and then try and swap it and get a better car out of it, which I mean I did all the time. Like I actually started, when I first started driving my car, I had a very old Fiesta Mark V. I paid £150 for the car off my neighbour. £150 for a car. I ended up swapping that for a Fiesta Mark 6 ST. Literally, I've just ended up working my ways up. I've had like BMWs, Audis. I've had a lot of Audis, a lot of BMWs. And then now I've got, like I say, I've got a Jaguar XF, so I'm not done bad. But yeah, as far as 125s, like I say, I've had my fair share. I've had, like I say, I've had my naked sports bikes, I've had my sports bikes, I've had my 2-stroke, 4-stroke, supermotos, crossers, anything you can think of, apart from a cruiser. I've not really had a cruiser. I was going to get a cruiser before this. It was either this or a cruiser, which was the T-Way RKV 125. Very, very close to getting that, but then obviously being sat on this, I just preferred this. And I thought, you know what, for driving around or for riding around and stuff, I think I'm going to get more enjoyment and be more comfortable on this style of bike than I would have been on a V-Cruise. Yeah, if you've got any questions about any of the bikes you used to have, or if you've got any of those bikes yourself and you might be stuck on something, you might want to know how to do something, literally drop a comment below, because 9 out of 10 times I will have the information, I will already know, because I've already had to do it. Whatever you wanted to do on the bike, I've probably had to do already. Like I say, I've changed top ends, I've done all the brakes, calipers, everything you can think of, refurbing calipers, refurbishing bikes. I've pretty much done it all. So yeah, got any questions, let me know. And as usual, like, share, comment and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video, guys. Peace.